Hi, I'm Morgan and welcome to the Dove's Nest. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about our Tot-School curriculum. My son is almost 3.5, and so I thought I would talk a little bit about what we're using, and at the end of the year I will review all of the products that I talk about in today's video. I initially had planned on starting to do Tot-School when I was on maternity leave with my now one-year-old, but we just didn't get around to it. I'm a full-time working mom, and so finding time to do these quality things that I feel are so important with my kids has been really hard. But I've made an effort recently to just do it. Find time in my day, make time in my day, and just get it done. So I wanted to share a little bit about this homeschool journey with you, or Tot-School journey with you, and share the curriculum I've decided to use and why I've decided to use it. So I have been a closet homeschool obsessed person since before I had my first child. I've researched curriculum. I can talk curriculum with the best of the homeschool moms. I just really enjoy learning about what options are out there. So for my son, I've decided to use Becca's curriculum for 2 and 3-year-olds. Now they are 2 separate curriculum. There's one for 2s and one for 3s. I'm doing a combination, which I will get into more. And the reason I decided to use Becca is because most homeschool programs that I've found that were geared towards preschoolers already assumed that preschoolers had capabilities of holding pens and, if not writing, at least tracing. And my son is just not there yet. However, he's extremely bright. By 22 months old, he could recognize all of the letters, upper and lowercase, and tell you what sounds they make. He was just very interested. He started pre-reading at 2.5. I mean, like, we'd go to Costco and he could sound out the letters and start pre-reading. And so I just figured I need to do something that's not advanced, but that's really gonna help us just keep developing these skills. Numbers is a totally different story. I have not been good with counting or numbers or anything, so I just really felt like this curriculum, it's made for 2-year-olds. It's made for 3-year-olds. They know what level these children are at, and it's totally appropriate. The other reason I wanted to do this curriculum was because it's not workbooks. Again, I know a lot of these homeschool moms that homeschool preschool go to the Dollar Tree and just buy all the workbooks, and their kids can do those. And again, my son can't. He has no interest in coloring or holding crayons or markers or pencils. And so doing a workbook is just a waste of time and would be a fight on my end, which is not what I wanted. So I loved that Becca was very hands-on. I also love that it's Christian-based. Now, we are LDS or Mormon, as is more commonly known, and so I was really looking for something that could just help bring in those Christian philosophies and bring Jesus into our day just a little bit. I just think there's something so rich about having an education centered in Christ, and so I loved that Becca was going to do all of those things for us. In the years that I've been researching homeschool, I've also just fallen in love with Erica from Confessions of a Homeschooler and Amanda from Faithfully Homemade. Now, she's not Faithfully Homemade anymore, so I'll have to link her channel below as well. Both of them have created their own preschool and kindergarten curriculums, but both used Becca with their kids, or still do, and the homeschool curriculum that they created are very, very similar to what Becca does. Both of their curriculums are very heavily based in Becca. I mean, even some of their graphics and the way that they teach certain concepts are done just like how Becca does it. So I decided to go straight to the source, again, because they start with preschool, but they didn't have something completely age appropriate for a 2 or 3-year-old. So as I mentioned, I decided to purchase Becca's homeschool curriculum. Now, this is the homeschool preschool. Momming. Sorry, I'm nursing my daughter. She's not going to be quiet while I film this video. So as you can see, this is the lesson plan manual for both the 2-year-old curriculum and the 3-year-old curriculum. So the first half of this book is the lesson plan for the 2-year-olds, and the second half is for the 3-year-olds. And the concepts that are taught in this, in Becca's preschool, you have phonics, numbers, language development, and skills development. And so I'll go ahead and talk about what we're using for each of those things. So the first thing we are going to talk about is the language development visual cards. And those they don't come with, I think you have to purchase it separately. This is the Language Development Teacher's Guide. And now it is separate from the homeschool lesson plan. However, in the lesson plans, it will tell you when you need to pull out your language development visual cards. But it just says when you need them. It doesn't tell you what to do with them or anything. So for example, week 7, your child will be learning the letter D in the 3-year-old program. And on Friday, it says you need the language development card for doctors. So if you go to your language development visual cards and you find the card for doctor, you have this beautiful illustration, but the lesson plans don't tell you what you need to do with it. And on the back, there's nothing, it's another picture. So you really do need to purchase the Language Development Visual Teacher's Guide. And then when you open it up to the doctor page, you have all of this information. You're going to look at the picture, you're going to talk about doctors, what do they do? You're going to talk about it, ask your child questions, have them answer. And then there's usually a game and then some kind of little poem at the end. Now, language development is essentially done 5 days a week in this curriculum. So it's really important that you have those cards. The other part of this curriculum is actually the phonics. Now, for phonics, we have the Animal Alphabet Friends cards. And typically you're learning 1 letter a week. And so with the Animal Alphabet Friends, we're actually doing an Animal Alphabet Friends card on Monday. And then the rest of the week, there are 4 corresponding language development visual cards for that same letter. So for example, if we're doing a lion on Monday, there are going to be 4 other L cards that you can use that week so that you're not repeating the same activity, but you're still getting the same repetition of that letter and learning different concepts. So the Animal Alphabet Friends cards are so much fun. I have the zebra one out right here. So this is the front of the card that your student will look at, and then on the back you have all of your stories and information about zebras. There's some learning games, there's some other play-based activity ideas, fun facts. There's a song that you'll sing that not only incorporates the zebra but the other Z objects as well. And then there's also some vocabulary words that you could talk about with your students. So there's one for every letter of the alphabet, I think except for X. Nope, there even is one for X. So every letter of the alphabet has a letter, which is really fun to do those concepts with the language development visuals. Develop a really strong grasp for phonics. The other thing that I got to go along with our phonics program is the letter sounds for 3s. Now I just showed you the zebra card. And so for example, I'm not sure in hindsight I would have purchased this again because I just showed you the zebra card. So for example, it's just a smaller version of the zebra card. There isn't anything on the back, so you wouldn't necessarily know what to do with this, but it's almost like your child, while you're reading the zebra card, could be looking at this, you know, finger tracing or maybe tracing with a pencil. And then there's usually a second picture. I'm not sure we're going to get too much use out of this, but if they want a smaller version to look at, you know, maybe we will. So I got that. I don't think it's necessarily necessary, but it's there. So next, let's talk about math. So math was one of those things where I just haven't worked with it. You know, my son, most people I talk to with 3-year-olds, they're really good at, oh, count this, or oh, how many birds do you see? Let's count them. And I just haven't been good with that with my son. So I actually purchased both the 2 and 3 curriculum. So the 2-year-old curriculum is the Learning Numbers with Button Bear, and this one is very, very simple. I mean, most of these pages are going to be a how many do you see? Color them. How many do you see? Color them. How many do you see? Color them. And you can just do it this way, or you can kind of think of your own ideas as far as using manipulatives or counters or other counting activities. Amanda with Faithfully Homemade has some great ideas, and I think she did the Animal Alphabet curriculum with her preschooler and just included a ton of great ideas as far as math and phonics. hands-on activities with manipulatives. So be sure to check out some of her stuff and also follow along for us because we're going to be doing tons of activities as well. So that's learning numbers. We're going to start there before we actually move on to the number skills with Button Bear. Now, number skills kind of starts the same way as far as how many and color. And again, because my son has no interest in coloring, we're probably not going to be doing these things. But for example, they have some more advanced skills like connecting the dots and, counting on a number line. For example, here's something where they have some little objects and you'll be gluing, where does it go? These objects here, you're going to be cutting and pasting into the proper room. So it's not just numbers and counting. There's also some problem solving and reasoning skills in this book, which I really liked, as well as, for example, some more problem solving and reasoning, draw the lines to match the opposites. So some different numerical concepts there, math concepts. So that will be kind of a fun one that we're going to get into later. So to go along with our math and numbers curriculum, I purchased the number flashcards, and they have numbers 0 to 200. Now in the numbers with Button Bear, learning numbers with Button Bear, it really emphasizes numbers 1 through 10 and cardinality. In the number skills, you're going to 20, but you're learning a few more things. But I really like these flashcards. We have a ton of math and number flashcards, tons. Every time I go to the store, I get one at the dollar store or the Target dollar spot. But what I love about these cards, I haven't cut them out yet, is how simple they are. It's a number on a card. There's no distracting colors, there's no distracting pictures, it just gets the job done. So I'm excited to use these number cards as well. Now, as far as skills development, there are two different ways we are going with this. I purchased the Growing Up with Amber Lamb visual cards as well, and these are sort of more social skills and things. So for example, this first one was, you read on the first day of school, Amber meets her teacher, and there's a little story on the back about how Amber Lamb is so worried about starting preschool and her mom's taking her. She's nervous about her teacher, but her teacher is very nice. And then there's a little scripture here, Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with thee. So just some different social skills, which is really nice. A lot of times, unless your student is really like in a preschool, if you're homeschooling, you think about the, language arts and math, but you don't necessarily think about teaching your kids social skills and problem solving skills, sort of emotional reasoning, all of those things. So this is a great little packet for that. Something else I did purchase, and I don't know that we will be using it, is the Nursery Arts-and-Crafts. Now this was for the 18 to 24 months old. So if you have a child younger, than a 2 or 3-year-old program, this book is great. Now with the preschool curriculum, there is an arts and crafts with Button Bear. There's a child art for 2s, child art for 3s, arts and crafts with Amber Lamb. There's some different things, but Becca, on their website, you can actually click on a product and sort of flip through it and see what kinds of things. And a lot of those were, they might have a coloring page, and then you have to cut it out and glue it, and you make a mobile with like string and a hanger. And my thing is I'm not going to do it, and so if my son is not capable of doing it himself, it's not going to get done. So I just figured if we needed to supplement something, these are very basics. There's a bunch of pictures for each color. And then there's a few little crafts. So for example, this one is a cut and paste, or you can finger paint some raindrops or puff paint some raindrops. What's the matter, sweetheart? Are you okay? Yeah? Where's Peppa? You want to go find Peppa? So we got this just as sort of a fill-in. Now in our homeschool, we are also doing religion. We're going to start every day with a little bit of Bible time or just religious time. And for that, we're using this manual called Behold Your Little Ones. Now I mentioned we are Mormon, we are LDS, and this is an actual curriculum that we use in our church for 18 months to 3 years old when they go to nursery. It's not complicated, it's not a lot. We're going to go through one lesson a week and just do a few hands-on activities. But some of the lessons, it's not just an LDS curriculum, it's for all Christians. So let me just tell you some of the lessons. There's I am a child of God, I can pray to Heavenly Father, I can pray with my family, I will be thankful, I will obey. Baby sister locked herself in the playroom. I love the scriptures. There's an Easter lesson, there's a Christmas lesson. So I love that these concepts are just very sweet, very simple, Christian-based concepts, and everything is right here in the manual for you. You don't need to go out and do a lot of things. Every week there's a song that you're going to be singing. There's a memory verse or a scripture, and then there's different activities as far as coloring pages or kind of get your wiggles out repetition activities, just little different things. So I love this. Now, to go along with this curriculum, I also have this gospel art book, and occasionally in the curriculum it will just say, turn to the picture on page, etc. And so that's what this is talking about. So for example, they're just very visually rich, beautiful images. There's Joseph and Potiphar's wife. We just did this one, Moses and the 10 Commandments. So it's just all of the different images that you may need for the curriculum. So that's what we're doing as far as religion. Now next in our homeschool, we are doing science. We are just taking a very simple introductory approach to science. I guess through unit studies is how we're going to be doing it. But I've broken them down, and so we have a couple of different units that we're going to be learning this year. And for our science unit studies, we're going to be using Usborne books. I am an Usborne consultant. I don't really do it anymore. I just do it so that I get a discount on books. But our first unit that we're going to be studying is all about me and the human body. And so essentially we might do this one week, kind of an overview of our body. We're going to be doing bones one week. We're going to be doing muscles one week. The 5 senses are going to be another week. So we're just really these little textbooks we're just totally breaking down. So we've got all about me. We're going to be doing a plants theme, plants and gardening, botany, that sort of thing. We're going to be doing a unit all about animals. So I have this animal book. I've got the Usborne Big Book of Animals. I've got sea creatures. I've got bugs. So we're doing a whole unit on animals. The next unit we're going to be doing is sort of transportation. So again, I have the Big Book of Big Machines, the Big Book of Trains, and the Big Book of Trucks. We are also going to be doing a solar system unit. So I've got the Big Book of Stars and Planets. Now, again, these are very simple text. One week we're going to do the whole solar system. One week we might do the moon. We might do something about stars. Each of these pages is essentially one week that we're going to be learning about, and then a few hands-on activities that week. So it's not terribly in-depth. And then the very last unit study we're going to be doing is on dinosaurs. So I'm super excited. I've planned most of the hands-on activities that we're doing. Again, they're very simple, very age-appropriate. I'm so excited about them. And lastly, just sort of more skills development that we are adding to our curriculum are just some of these spectrum books. So we're going to be doing, because we are learning the alphabet and our numbers, we are going to be doing some of these little ABC and 1, 2, 3 pages. But mostly we're going to be focusing on cutting, tracing, pasting, and then we are going to be just going over our colors and shapes, even though we already know those, just a little reinforcement. So that's everything as far as curriculum and text that we are using for our homeschool. I hope you stay along this journey with us and that you enjoy. And if you like what you see and want to continue to follow along, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Let's do it so that I get a discount on books. But our first unit that we're going to be studying is all about me and the human body. And so essentially we might do this one week, kind of an overview of our body. We're going to be doing bones one week. We're going to be doing muscles one week. The 5 senses are going to be another week. So we're just really these little textbooks we're just totally breaking down. So we've got all about me. We're going to be doing a plants theme, plants and gardening, botany, that sort of thing. We're going to be doing a unit all about animals. So I have this animal book. I've got the Usborne Big Book of Animals. I've got sea creatures. I've got bugs. So we're doing a whole unit on animals. Next we're doing, The next unit we're going to be doing is sort of transportation. So again, I have the big book of big machines, the big book of trains, and the big book of trucks. We are also going to be doing a solar system unit. So I've got the big book of stars and planets. Now, again, these are very simple text. You know, 1 week we're going to do the whole solar system. 1 week we might do the moon. We might do something about stars. You know, each of these pages is essentially 1 week that we're going to be learning about, and then a few hands-on activities that week. So it's not terribly in-depth. And then the very last unit study we're going to be doing is on dinosaurs. So I'm super excited. I've planned most of the hands-on activities that we're doing. Again, they're very simple, very age-appropriate. I'm so excited about them. And then lastly, just sort of more skills development that we are adding to our curriculum are just some of these spectrum books. So we're going to be doing, because we are learning the alphabet and our numbers, we are going to be doing some of these little ABC and 1, 2, 3 pages. But mostly we're going to be focusing on cutting, tracing, pasting, and then we are going to be just going over our colors and shapes, even though we already know those, just a little reinforcement. So that's everything as far as curriculum and text that we are using for our homeschool. I hope you stay along this journey with us and that you enjoy. And if you like what you see and want to continue to follow along, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Good.